Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Alexis. For anybody who doesn't know, welcome if you're new, or welcome back if you have been here before. I am the author of A Journey into Truth, Unveiling Life's Secrets for Truth Seekers. This book has not come out yet, but it will be available for pre-order on November 2nd, 2021. And this book is all about my spiritual journey, the things I've experienced, the adventures I've been on, and also some of the lessons I have learned along that path and from the teachers I have been learning from. So if you're interested in that book, it's coming soon. You can find out more on my website, www.vibrate2create.com, and also on my Instagram at Vibrate2Create. Here on Vibrate to Create, I talk about all things spiritual and metaphysical. I also talk about my own personal life experience and life philosophies. And I also make reaction videos to spiritual teachers, spiritual teachings, sometimes inspirational or funny videos as well. In the future, I will be making videos on entrepreneurship, creating your own book, formatting your own book, self-publishing your own book, the websites and tools you'll need to do so. So if you're interested in that content, you can click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified of when those videos come out so you don't miss one. I am doing a bulk amount of videos currently. So if you've seen me looking the same, it is the same day and it is the same time. Or maybe why I just ate lunch, so it's a little bit later, but it is the same day, so that's why I look the same. Anyways, I will be doing another reaction video, and this time I want to react to Wayne Dyer. I think this series is going to be full of spiritual teachings and spiritual teachers that have inspired me, that have changed my life, or that I really love. And so I hope you guys enjoy it as well. One of my favorite teachers is Wayne Dyer, and we are going to react to him today. I don't know which one yet. I have not watched this video. I have not even looked it up yet, but you guys will be finding out in real time right here. Alright, I'm just going to type in Wayne Dyer and see what comes up. Okay, this one feels good. This one feels like the right one. Okay, so this one is titled Wayne Dyer, How to See the Blessing in Everything. 3 Stages of Enlightenment. If it has music, I might change it, because I don't know.
I have a very strong belief that everything that comes into your life is supposed to, and every condition of your life is part of the perfection of it, and that there's a blessing in all of it, and that there are no accidents, that it's a perfect, absolutely, totally perfect universe. Everybody that you meet for a reason. Everybody you're sitting next to, you're there for a reason. You can either take advantage of it or not. You have choices to make throughout it all. At the same moment, there's an opportunity in it, and I never look back with anything but gratitude for all that was handed to me, because I learned firsthand as a very young boy how to be self-reliant, how to take responsibility for myself, how not to blame other people for it, and to find something positive in it, and always did. Think of yourself as connected to and a part of it all, rather than someone who is being victimized or slowed down or abused by, or here it happens again. It's all part of the perfection of it all. That's a very nice, enlightening place to get to. It really slows you down. And it doesn't take away your ability to make choices. It takes away your wanting the world to be as you think it should be instead of as it is. That's what defines neurotic. That's what neurotic really means.
So it seems like this is mostly just a bunch of quotes, different quotes. So I'm going to stop at specific ones and then talk a little bit about what I think about it, or just kind of my own thoughts about it here. So one of the first ones that really touched me here was the one where he said he believes everything happens for a reason. Now, I don't know too much about Wayne Dyer's past or how he grew up, but I know a little tiny bit, I think. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on these things, but I'm pretty sure he grew up in a maybe we should look it up, because I don't want to say the wrong thing here. I'm thinking he grew up as an no, he had a mom. I know he had a mom, but let's see. Okay, so it says His father, Melvin Dyer, was an alcoholic and abandoned the family soon after Wayne was born. And I'll leave a link to this below if you guys want to read it as well. So his dad was an alcoholic and died after he was born. His mother turned Wayne and his brother Jim over to an orphanage where she could no longer take care of them. Yeah, so I knew this part. I knew he grew up in an orphanage, or that he was an orphan. He went to the Navy, and then he started becoming a high school guidance counselor, and then he became a professor. When asked about his religious beliefs, Dyer points out, "My belief is that the truth is a truth until you organize it, and then it becomes a lie. I don't think Jesus was teaching Christianity. Jesus was teaching kindness, love, concern, and peace. When I tell people is don't be Christian, be Christ-like. Don't be Buddhist, be Buddha-like." It says, Some critics have pointed out Dyer's health and marital troubles as contradicting his tenets of living life with positive thinking. But these critics are missing the whole point of the message. Bad things, sad things happen to everybody, and most are out of people's control, like illness, car accidents, etc. It is through one's strength in positive thinking and spirituality that one overcomes these new barriers to happiness in one's life and continues to thrive and be happy. I always found Wayne Dyer to be really inspiring, and I really loved his teachings. Like, I would go to the library and I would look up like where I could find his books, and then I would look up where I could find his audiobooks, and something about his voice was just so soothing and so like, oh, I loved those teachings so much. And around that time I was learning about Eckhart Tolle as well, and learning from his teachings too. But I really loved Wayne Dyer, and I loved a lot of the things he would talk about. Like, specifically, I can remember this one quote where he says, "When you judge another, you don't define them, you define yourself and who you are inside, or what your own insecurities come from." And I'm not saying insecurities are bad either, because I have my own. And whenever I have a judgment, I kind of notice it, and I'm like, okay, there's something here that I need to look at, or something I need to work on, because for sure this is a bias that I have picked up along my life's path or my life's journey, and it doesn't mean that it is the truth. So I'm always questioning myself and who I am, and what do I actually believe? What is the deeper layer of truth that can be uncovered within this situation? But yeah, I really loved his teachings a lot. Now back to that quote from the beginning where he was talking about everything in life happens for a reason. And he is a testament to that. He's a testament to, I grew up in a situation where I didn't have control over anything. Sometimes when we grow up in hard situations, or we were born into a rough life, that can really cultivate such a strength within. It can cultivate deep roots into the ground, so that when storms come, one can't be blown away. It's just, I'm so strong here in this earth that even if a storm came, even if a hurricane, I don't know about a hurricane, even if a terrible windy storm came, I could still stand tall and know that the storm will pass soon. This is in my book a lot, so if you're interested in learning more about this or my ideas, check out my book. Anyways, what else? Okay, yes. So in my book, I talk a lot about my rough upbringing. I talk about my suicide attempt, talk about some of the addictions I had. And I think everybody has addictions. It's not something to be ashamed of, or something to see as like, oh, this is horrible, like I'm a horrible person because that happened to me. But the root of addiction is, I have so much pain, and sometimes that pain is so hard to look at that I would rather run from it, or I would rather look somewhere else. And looking at one's pain can be so, it can feel really unnatural to dive into those depths, to dive into that darkness, because we've been taught so much. I think this is the origin of that reason why we do that. But we've been taught so much to, look at our phones and run that way, or go to work and run that way, or go exercise 10 hours per day and run that way. And so addictions can come in multiple ways, and sometimes it looks on the surface to be a healthy way to cope, but actually it is just a way to cope. It's just a way to not have to look at that pain. But it takes a lot of courage to be willing to look at that, so that we can cause healing, so that we can cause change in ourselves, and so that we can cause change in the world and in our life. And that ripple effect of, we change us, and then we change others, and we change the world, and we change everyone we come into contact with. But yeah, I definitely agree with, I think everything happens for a reason, and that everybody that we meet, everybody that we come across in our lifetime is there for a reason. It's there for something to teach us. It's there for something to help us learn more about ourselves. And everybody that I have met on my journey has been like the next logical step. It's like it was the next person I was supposed to meet. It's almost like the universe was supporting me, supporting my dreams, and telling me, this is the next step you need to take. And I take that step, and then I meet that person, and then that person teaches me something. Like, for example, when I worked at the crystal shop, the spiritual crystal shop, I found that woman because this is in my book. So when I worked at the spiritual shop, the reason that I found that woman was because I was at this spiritual festival, and I thought to myself, I want to go buy a crystal. I don't know anything about crystals. I'm not drawn to them. I don't really see them as these magnificent, like, oh my god, it's going to change my life. But I was like, oh, I just want to go buy a crystal. And that was just that one thought I had during a meditation. I got up, walked to a very specific booth. I was like, this is the one, even though there was like maybe 50 booths, or maybe 40. I don't know. I didn't count. But I walked up to the one specific one, and I asked the woman, what is this crystal? She told me about it, and then she told me about the shop she was about to be opening, and I was like, oh, where is the shop? She told me where the shop was, right down the street from my house where I was living at the time. I get a message. And I was like, oh, I can work for you. And at the time I was working as a background actress. It wasn't very steady, and it wasn't something I wanted to do for forever, obviously. It was just something I loved to do. It was a cool source of passive income, and not passive. It was a cool source of income, and I was like, yeah, I want a more steady job. I want a job where I'm learning about spirituality, and also where I'm learning about entrepreneurship and owning a business and handling all of those business aspects, because it's what I want to do in my future. And she was she taught me so much about philanthropy, and because she was so passionate about working with people in the jungle and preserving their culture and who they are, and preserving their medicines and their plant medicines, and helping to regrow that culture. And so she taught me so much about that, and so much about selfless service, and really just being a really good person. And I looked up to her so much, and I loved to learn from her, and I loved to learn from her kind way of running business. It was a very spiritual, loving way to run business, and I was like, I love this woman, I want to be like her. Everybody loves her. But yeah, so I learned a lot from her. And at that time, that was exactly what I needed. That was exactly what I needed right before I was going to start writing my own book and trying to create my own business for myself. Learning about the selfless service, learning about having a conscious business, and a business that is not money driven or self-seeking, but to give out of give from the heart, give out of love, and give out of leaving something behind in this world that you're very proud to leave behind, that you think could help generations to come, or you think would be important for changing somebody's life. And so meeting her right before all of that, it makes so much sense. when you look back. And it makes so much sense when I look back at all of the hardships I've been through and and at that time it didn't make sense at all. It was like, why am I going through this? Why am I feeling like this? Why is the world like pushing me down and knocking me down and it won't stop? Like, what is the point of even being here if life is just going to be like this for forever? And I'm so grateful that I made it through those moments. Not to say I don't have sad moments or I have hard moments, because I still do, often, sometimes. But nobody is perfect. We're all growing, we're all learning, we're all becoming better versions of ourselves. We're all sometimes, and when becoming a better version of oneself, sometimes that means getting dragged through the mud, getting into a really hard situation or creating a really hard failure. And through that failure, you learn how to rise again, or how to become even better than before you ended up in that mess. So yes, I do think everything happens for a reason. And sometimes people argue and they're like, no, things don't always happen for a reason. Sometimes life is just shitty. Well, sometimes life is shitty, and sometimes that is the reason why we end up becoming better versions of ourselves. So it does happen for a reason. To me, I believe that. I really do believe that. Anyways, let's keep going.
And the moon shows up every evening on time. That everything in this universe is absolutely perfect. There are no accidents in it. And
No
the only
accidents.
choices that I have are how I'm going to process the things that have showed up in my life, the father that I had, the resentments that I had with them. I no longer have to have those. So the lowest stage of enlightenment is that stage where you look back on your life and you say, now I know why I had to be an alcoholic for those years. And now I know why I had to be in that relationship with my ex-wife. And now I know why I had to go through the bankruptcy. Or now I know why I had to create that cancer. Or that heart attack. Or whatever it was that taught me.
I have chills everywhere.
Transcend that self-defeating behavior that I used to think I couldn't do anything about. You see? The second stage of enlightenment is when things like this are happening to you. You know there's a blessing in it. There's an opportunity in it while it's happening. You're smoking, and you know that there's something in this for me. You're going through a relationship difficulty, or you're having an accident, or you've gone through a series of illnesses, whatever it may be, that seems to be a struggle for you in your life. While it's happening, you're looking constantly for what's in it for me? What can I get out of this? There's no mistakes out there. It's all being created for some reason. So that's the second stage. And that minimizes the suffering. Because you're looking for what's in it for you. How can I get something out of that? So that the person cutting you off, the way your children talk, whatever, you're not instantly threatened by that. You're constantly aware that these people are behaving that when there's something in this for me to learn. And I think I'll get it now. I think I'll get it now. Instead of waiting 6 years suffering through it and then seeing it. But there's a higher stage.
Well, I think that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. You can send me a private message at vibrate2create@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at vibrate2create. If you have any videos you would like for me to react to, or anything inspiring, anything moving or sentimental, if you want to make me cry, you can do that too. No. I mean in a good way, like a happy cry, not like a sad cry, because I probably wouldn't. Maybe I would, I don't know. But yeah, my documentary, which is documenting my book and all the process of creating the book, things like me finding the cover designer, formatting the interior of the book, and creating promos, creating ads, all kinds of things, that will be coming out starting on September 14th. I will be posting every single Wednesday on this channel, and sometimes I will be posting on Fridays, maybe sometimes, not always, but always on Wednesdays. Keep an eye out for those videos coming, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye. Got my itchy nose. Me reacting to my spiritual